Anytime I'm going to lead any activity, you're going to get similar cues from me. I want you to go ahead right now and do anything and everything that helps your nervous system know that you truly are safe. This is a protected space, a shared space, a place where we are okay exploring emotions. And so for me, that involves some stretching, some opening of the body, which is counterintuitive. If I was in fight or flight mode, I would not be rolling through joints, looking in 360 degrees radius. My vagus nerve is alerted to the fact that, yes, I'm in a safe space. The ground beneath me is solid. I might roll some of those other joints that I harbor tension in, shoulders, neck. And I'm going to invite you, you're all muted, to make some sounds. So with the exhales, some sighs, some humming. And as you settle in, listen for the sound. And let that sound invite the eyelids to get heavy, perhaps even to close. As we move towards a practice that involves the development of emotional agility. What is emotional agility? Oren J. Sofer will tell us that emotional agility is really a practice of three things. It's a willingness to experience what you're feeling. It's the ability to name it in some capacity, and then to express it without adding judgment, shame, blame. So as we work towards this emotional agility this month, today we're going to work specifically with words, with emotional literacy. In some of the previous month's recordings, I talk a lot about sensory words, using almost adjectives that an artist would use to illuminate and describe what's going on inside. And in a moment, I'll give you an opportunity to practice with that construct. But today we're going to move into the realm too of words like anxiety, anger, grief. And as you consider in any moment, what is it that I'm feeling right now? I want you to keep three things in mind. One is the physiological feedback you're experiencing. Where in the body is there emotion, energy in motion, or energy present? Maybe it feels stagnant or stuck, but apparent energy. What in the mind can inform you as to what you're feeling? So the mind's reaction to an experience in the form of thoughts and stories, this is data. And then environmental feedback or environmental context. Certainly many of us can figure out what we're feeling if we know our blood sugar number, or if we put it in the context of my boss just gave me tough feedback, or I just got news that a friend is coming to visit from out of town. So as those words kind of land, I want you to again do anything you can to make yourself even 10% more comfortable. And as you settle in, go ahead and take a hold of the breath. Almost like you could take your attention like a hand and grasp the breath. Take hold of the breath like you're taking the hand of a small child. There's some tenderness here as you begin to watch the rise and fall of body parts. Maybe settling awareness on the place where you feel breath most prominently. At the nostrils, ribs, belly. Remembering that breath is your constant companion and your greatest ally. So at any moment, if what you're feeling is too unpleasant, just come back to this breath. Anchoring attention on the breath helps this extraneous attention to expand. So I want you to keep the primary awareness on breath, but all that extra awareness, expand it now throughout the body. Maybe you imagine yourself with a flashlight, exploring the caverns and caves of each nook and cranny within. Or maybe there's a visual image of a metal detector. You're sweeping it up and over the body. As you widen your awareness, assume the role of sensory scientist. As you consider, what am I feeling and where am I feeling it? Physiologically, is there a buzzing, a tension in the jaw, neck, lower back? A sense of constriction, or maybe one of expansion? Physiologically, is there a weight, a temperature, an intensity to what you're feeling? When you illuminate it, is it helpful to identify whether or not this energy is moving or stuck? Whether it has a shape or feels like it's got a color? It might feel a little bit more approachable when you start this way. But before we try to give it a word, an emotional vocabulary word, I want you to move awareness to the mind state. Becoming aware now of what's happening in the mind, like you're taking the temperature, assessing the weather. Is it windy or quiet in there? Cloudy or clear? Are thoughts circulating about the present, past, or future? Does the content of what's inside your mind offer you some clarity, some context? Can you begin to land on a word, an emotional construct, by simply noticing if your thoughts are preoccupied, ruminating on something that's happened, anticipating, guarding against something that might happen, or maybe creatively engaged. If not, calm, still. practice is to notice all that is just as it is, while trying to keep an even keel. The mind will judge, but don't judge the judgment. When you become aware of that feeling and emotion that's present, play with some words, some feeling constructs, contentment, or irritability, insecurity, anxiety, boredom. Whether it's a pleasant or an unpleasant, or maybe even a neutral experience. Notice what happens if you pick a word and you say it in the direction of your felt experience. Boredom, boredom, boredom. There's only a few things that can happen. When you name it, you might tame it, it might dissipate. When you name it, it might speak up, it might get a little bit more amplified. When you name it, it might simply continue to exist. Funny thing is, emotions are exactly like the weather. They're always in flux. So if we linger here for a couple of minutes, let's see what other emotions show up. In fact, can you snuff out your own emotional playlist? The emotions that frequent your lived experience most often. No need to resist what you feel. No need to fear what you feel. Because this physiological and cognitive and environmental context, this stuff, dear ones, is simply ingredient to your perfectly imperfect human experience. Use the breath to keep that perspective. The breath can create almost a plexiglass type barrier between you, the real you, the part that observes, and everything else. If ever things get too intense, let that next exhale be audible. Stay with the sound as long as you hear it. And then with an exhale, let that chin fall to the chest. And just let this moment, this gesture, be in honor of you, this practice, this community, and the path that we're all on. Eyes might flicker open, adjusting to the light. You might choose to look back around to reorient yourself with the environment you're in.